This is the simplest way for women to kill their belly fat permanently, and I know this works because I've used it on all of my ladies at all ages. Liz and Isabel in their 20s. We've had Sandra and Ashley in their 30s, Trish and Annabelle in their 40s, Kathy in her 50s. Even my own mom and mother-in-law lost a combined 60 pounds following these simple rules to finally be able to permanently lose their belly fat. Even my own sister, who was in medical school at the time, got an hourglass figure by following these rules. And I know these work because it's backed by science. Myself, I'm a medical doctor, I'm a scientist, and I've coached nearly thousands of women at this stage at my company, Sculpt by Science. But let's not waste any time. The first one is going to be doing 15,000 steps. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, Dr. Mike, is that it? But let me explain. Now, there are two things that with women we need to pay more attention to compared to the men. And the two things are these hormones. Number one is cortisol, also known as our stress hormone. It's very important. It helps us wake up. It helps us with fight or flight. But the problem is, compared to men, women are a lot more sensitive because cortisol also acts as a protective mechanism in case women want to bear children. So too much cortisol is a problem. And the second hormone we want to really control is insulin. Insulin is a storage hormone. Think of it like a librarian. Books come in, the librarian has to put these books, aka your glucose, in the right place, in your liver, in your muscle, sending it to your brain. But too much insulin makes the storage hormone say, hey, I don't have any places to put these books, and then stores it as fat. If we can manipulate these two hormones through these simple adjustments, you'll be permanently able to kill your belly fat through science. So step number one is going to be hitting 15,000 steps. And I don't want you to run. I don't want you to do hours of cardio, of sweating on the treadmill. Why? Because those things are cortisol events. They're going to spike your cortisol too high. And essentially, when your cortisol is too high, your body is more so inclined to be in storage mode because it's going to think, hey, we're in fight or flight. So fat tissue we need to store, actually just go for muscle instead. And it's the biggest mistake I see women make. So why 15,000 steps? So the walking on its own does not spike cortisol as much as running or any high intensity interval training. Number one, because of the level of impact on the body. All this impact on the joints doesn't raise your cortisol. It is not increasing your heart rate compared to high intensity interval training. And also it is a lot easier to manage in terms of time. And usually the way we have our clients go through this process is Sculpt by Science is we'll gradually build them up to 15,000 steps. But at Sculpt by Science, what I've noticed is when the ladies get to 15,000 steps daily, their body's able to melt fat off. So in simple terms, the 15,000 steps will help you burn roughly 500 plus calories. And we know 1 pound of fat is equal to 3,500 calories. So if you wanted to lose a pound of fat in a week, then you would say 3,500 divided by 7 days in the week, which is 500 calories. And you can establish this pound of fat loss a week just through steps alone. But the amazing part is this. Remember I talked about insulin as well? What I highly recommend my ladies to do is after they eat is actually to walk, right? So they find events to be able to walk because essentially when you're walking, your librarian, your insulin is better managed. It's sending all the food you're eating to the muscle, to the liver, and it's immediately being utilized because you've decided to walk, consequently not spiking your insulin too high. And essentially, just setting the rule of 15,000 steps in general forces women just to move more. I have clients right now who are doctors who are very busy, and part of my job is just to bring their steps to the top of consciousness. So you may be asking, Dr. Mike, how do your clients even find the time to hit 15,000 steps? Which is very simple. So remember this math forever. That 10 minutes of walking is going to equal 1,000 steps. Now that we know that, there's many different ways to break it down. So in simple terms, it's actually not healthy to be seated on a chair for an hour or longer, 45 minutes. It's bad for your glutes, it's terrible for your posture, and it's actually bad for your blood flow. Say you work 12 hours at the hospital, and instead of being seated, you get up for the last 5 minutes of every hour. Let's say you work from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So at 8:55, 9:55, 10:55. That means in total, after 12 hours, that's a total of 60 minutes, which gives you 6,000 steps. I also recommend getting a walking pad. I basically force my clients to buy a walking pad. It's $150 minimum or average in terms of investment. And when you have a walking pad, I would even recommend getting two, one in your office and one in your living room. So let's say you've just had a meal, you're spending time with your kids. Let's say they're watching TV. Those 20 minutes you can walk. Another thing, I know ladies love going to the gym. If you can, walk to your gym, that's 10 minutes. And walking back, that's another 10 minutes. That's 2,000 steps. If you're doing a workout, that's roughly 20 sets. And between every set, you usually rest for 60 seconds. 60 seconds, which is a minute, times 20, it's 20 minutes. You can get 2,000 steps that way. I also recommend waking up an hour earlier to get some steps, or even in the evening after your last dinner, instead of sitting and watching TV, go on a walk with your family. So again, why getting 15,000 steps will help you? Number one, we know that the walking will help us burn fat, and research has shown that it taps mainly into fat stores. Number two, we know that it's not a cortisol event. It's not going to spike your cortisol too high, blocking fat loss. Number three, it will make you more insulin sensitive. There is no downside to moving more. This is amazing for you, but that is the first simplest thing that I want you to do, ladies. And I'm even gonna give you a pro tip. If you can, download this app called Pedometer Plus Plus. This is what it looks like. And I have a nice little widget here. And as you can see, I've had 48 days of hitting 15,500 steps. What this helps with is just reminding you, hey, that you need to move more. And now I've even given you all the tricks for you to be able to hit your 15,000 steps early. If 15,000 is hard, start at 10 and then work your way up. Before we move on into the next step, ladies, if getting to 15,000 steps helped you to lose weight, let me know your story in the comments, because I think so many ladies don't understand how powerful walking is. Did you see a difference when you stopped doing heavy cardio, or what cardio worked for you? Comment down below, Dr. Mike, this is the cardio that worked or that didn't work. And actually, for the next 48 hours, I am going to be in the comments replying to every lady out there who needs my help. So ask me questions, but I also think just sharing your story can motivate someone else to be able to make their journey and take the path on that. Oh, and by the way, if you guys want more of these kind of videos, leave the video with a gentle thumbs up, and I'd greatly appreciate it. Let's move on to the second simplest thing that you can do. Of course, we need to talk about nutrition. Dr. Mike, what should I eat? Now, I'm not going to give you the casual advice. You need to be in a caloric deficit. This is exactly what you should eat, what you should do. But I'm going to give you the way of thinking. I'm going to show you how to fish so you can forever fish for yourself. And I'll even give you a plan of what to follow. Now, remember what I talked about. The biggest thing I want you to focus on is keeping your cortisol and your insulin low. And the best way I can say to do that is eating a high protein diet. And that's the simplest advice I want to give you. Because when I tell women to establish a caloric deficit and eat this amount, sometimes that can be too stressful if you're doing it. But if I just told you, I want you to eat a minimum of 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So let's assume you're 160 pounds. Then that just means you want to eat about 40 grams of protein per meal. It is very easy to do that. And I'm going to show you exactly. I'm going to give you a mnemonic. So grab your pen and paper or just take a screenshot. But let me explain why this is the simplest way to be able to lose fat. Number one, these are the 3 things everybody knows about protein. It's very filling. This will also help you establish a caloric deficit because you're going to feel fuller compared to what you're normally eating. The second thing is we know protein is broken down into amino acids, which function as the building blocks to muscle. And think about it, ladies. The more muscle you have, if you increase your muscle mass, you're consequently decreasing your body fat percentage. So it will also make you more toned. When women talk about getting toned, they're actually saying, I want more muscle on my frame. So the second thing is you're giving your body more building blocks. And then the final thing, the biggest mistake I see so many women make when they come to me is that their calories are slashed and their metabolism is really jacked up because they've been crash dieting for a long time. However, when you start having 1 gram of protein per pound, your body actually burns the most amount of calories trying to break that protein down, almost 3 to 6 times more compared to carbohydrates and compared to fats. So that's why it's so important to eat more protein. Think of it like throwing charcoal onto fire because your body is using so much energy to break the protein down. Those are the 3 simple reasons, but the bigger benefits for women is that the more protein you eat, the more of a sludge it creates in your stomach, the more of sludge it creates in your intestines, it slows down the digestion. It slows down of how much glucose enters into your bloodstream. Consequently, all keeping your insulin levels lower, right? Remember when I told you, think of it like creating this barrier in your gut to prevent sugar from entering so quickly. Now, I told you I was going to show you an easy way to hit 40 grams of protein per meal. 4, right? Remember this mnemonic forever, and I'm also going to give you different meal type examples. 2, 6, 8, 10 equals 50. 2 scoops of a whey protein equals 50 grams of protein. 6 ounces of cooked chicken breast equals 50 grams of protein. 8 ounces of cooked steak, sirloin, tenderloin, filet mignon, the lean steaks equals 50 grams of protein. And then 10 ounces of fish equals 50 grams of protein. The one I would like to add here is salmon, wild caught salmon, mackerel, and sardines. You want about 8 ounces of that cooked. That will also give you roughly 40 to 50 grams of protein. And let's assume that you're gonna do this mnemonic 2, 6, 8, 10. Now you know what protein sources. You really need 3 main meals and a snack. So let's say with the 2 scoops of protein, you can just have it as a shake. You can mix that with Greek yogurt, right? Unsweetened Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt is amazing for your gut. It will boost your metabolism. You can take the 2 scoops of protein and you can put it into your oats. You can make an overnight oats. So take the 2 scoops of protein, mix it in with oats, add in some Greek yogurt and some chia seeds. The second one is the chicken breast. You can have chicken breast, I promise you, make it in the air fryer, tastes amazing. Add some Jihu's barbecue sauce on there and you're good to go. In the air fryer, it will retain the water so it's not dry. But chicken breast is amazing. You can add it to your salads, you can add it to a pasta. But I just want you to focus on hitting your 6 ounces. The 8 ounces of steak, you can have it with sweet potato, you can have it with rice, you can have it with baby potatoes, anything you desire, but just make sure you have 8 ounces. And then the salmon, my wife loves having it with mashed potatoes. You can also have it with different carbohydrate sources and just try and add veggies to every meal. But now you have different recipes of how to prepare protein sources. And just because you're watching so far, I'm leaving you with a 21-page recipe book. It's flashing here on the screen. I'll tell you it's in the description and you can click on it and download it. I don't need the email or anything, just so that you ladies have something you can really get inspired from and ideas. Let's move into the final one. So sleep and stress is the third simplest thing. Why sleep? Sleep is a long-term cortisol clear event. Fight or flight, cortisol, rest and digest, anti-cortisol, right? We've all learned about this. We have our sympathetic, parasympathetic. We have fight or flight, which is cortisol, and sympathetic. So if you ask me, Dr. Mike, what is the best thing I can do to reduce my cortisol? And that is being in the opposite state, which is rest and digest. So sleeping is a cortisol clearance event. You need to clear your cortisol so that your body isn't blocking fat loss and even causing fat storage. So with my clients, sometimes I don't even give them a diet or a training, right? Let's say they've tried everything and we build the foundation of sleep. And these are the usual things that the ladies aren't paying attention to. Number 1, I don't want you to have an alarm to wake up. I want you to have an alarm to go to bed. We need to systemize our going to bed approach. And I need you ladies to think of yourselves as professional sleepers. I know you want to be around for your loved ones for a long time. I know you want to have a long and healthy life, and sleep is going to do that. It is going to fix all your hormones. It's going to clear out the cortisol the best. So first of all, let's say you want to go to bed at 10 p.m. We need to start a process, reverse engineering that 10 p.m. sleep time. So the first thing, 12 o'clock in the day, no more caffeine, none. Cut it off. Why? Because even though you're someone who can fall asleep drinking caffeine, you won't be able to get into deep sleep and REM sleep. Research shows this consistently. The caffeine essentially is still in your bloodstream. So no more caffeine 10 hours before bed. That means you're trying to go to bed at 10 p.m., reverse engineer that's 12 o'clock. That's a cutoff. Now, 3 hours before bed, we want to stop eating. And I know ladies, you come home, you're tired, you're maybe spent 8 hours at work, and now you're trying to catch up with all your meals. And something I see now as well is women love fasting, but sometimes fasting can hurt you. And this is why I highly recommend getting coaching, so you can have someone really guide and build a plan designed just for you. It's the first link in the description with us again at Sculpt by Science. usually what happens is I see women try and get that 160 grams of protein right when they get from work, and then their stomach is too active. You don't want to have your brain fall asleep, but your gut, your stomach, your intestines, your rectum all doing the work that it needs to while you're trying to get good rest. So 3 hours before bed, that should be your last meal. So that means that, okay, at 7 p.m. should be your last meal, and then 2 hours before bed, no more liquids. Because you're eating a lot of food 3 hours before bed, usually that sodium is gonna make you very thirsty and you wanna drink a lot more. I tell my ladies actually, when you wake up, drink a cup of water, add a bit of pink Himalayan sea salt, hydrate yourself, because actually it's the most dehydrated you'll be in the morning. And 1 hour before bed, this is time to wind down. The same way you're not ready to just go and do work the moment you open your eyes, you need to give yourself time to wind down. I'm talking about putting on a blue light blocking glass. I'm talking about really shutting off your computer, stay away from the TVs, any stress factors, and then get into bed, charge your phone outside of your bedroom, and sleep is the best anti-cortisol medicine you can do. And what will happen is you'll see that your appetite, you're not as hungry as you normally are, right? You're not having all these cravings. You'll notice that you have more energy. No one's ever said, Dr. Mike, I feel more tired sleeping more. You'll have more energy. You'll see that hitting the 15,000 steps is easier. You'll notice that you're not as bloated anymore. You'll notice that, hey, maybe I can do even 20,000. But I've seen sleep really correct all the problems that women deal with psychologically, from their cravings to their training to their motivation to their energy. So sleep is that cortisol clearance event. And then to deal with stress. This is something that research has consistently shown to be able to deal with acute stress and bring your cortisol levels down. This is 4-7-8 breathing. So I want you to inhale through your nose for 4 seconds. After inhaling, I want you to hold your breath for 7 seconds. And then I want you to exhale through your mouth for 8 seconds, a very slow exhale. And then I want you to hold after the exhale. And you'll just notice you have a much more calmer energy and you're literally bringing your cortisol levels down. I'll leave the video there. These are the simplest ways to kill your belly fat. All of my ladies have followed this particular plan. And again, if you are a busy professional and you want a team of doctors to help you, then get the help. We're in the early part of the year. Make 2026 the year you finally see your abs and you're in the shape of your life. It's the first link in the description. If you did enjoy the video, leave it with a gentle thumbs up. And if you want more of this simple advice, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Keep putting one foot in front of the other, especially when you don't feel like it.